From the man who buried himself alive for a week to an even scarier man who's never felt pain in his life, here are 10 of the most unusual men in the world. These men have massive IQs or physical characteristics that could absolutely blow your mind. So get ready for a bumpy ride. Before we dive into this list, make sure to leave a like on this video. Also, if you would like to join this month's Star 5 giveaway of a brand new iPhone 14, then all you have to do is subscribe to our channel and watch this video until the end to find and comment the hidden message. Good luck. Number 10, Bobby Fischer. Bobby Fischer fits the title of a man of destiny. Bobby represents many angles of life, a dreamer and a rebel. And yes, all the adorable qualities, but this man was unusual for a completely different reason. He was super famous for his contribution to the game of chess. At the age of 15, Bobby was the youngest grandmaster of his era and also the first US-born citizen to win the title. It all started when he turned 6 and his older sister Joan gifted him his first ever chessboard. And that was all it took for him to fall in love with the game. He went on to become a star in the Brooklyn and Manhattan chess clubs, leading to his eventual dominance of the game. Bobby went on to win the US championship at the age of 14 and just 12 years later defeated the Soviet champion Boris Spassky at the Reykjavik World Championship in Iceland. For a man with an IQ of about 181, this was a spectacular feat. It was the first time a US player would ever win the coveted trophy. At number 9, Nikola Tesla. There are many engineering breakthroughs in the world today that can be traced to the hands of Nikola Tesla. Nikola Tesla was born in modern-day Croatia and was famous for inventing alternate current at an age when direct current was seen as the greatest invention of all time. He also created the Tesla coil, a critical invention that is still used in radio today. Tesla was born in 1856 but moved to the US from Europe when he was 28, where he met another great inventor, Thomas Edison. The two worked together briefly until they parted ways. In 1885, Tesla established the Tesla Electric Company, and he's also the brain behind the first hydroelectric power plant in the US at Niagara Falls. Number 8, Salvador Dali. Salvador will forever remain an icon within the surrealist art world. His career began at the Academia de San Fernando in Madrid in 1922, although he had been painting before joining the Academia. He was expelled twice, but his second expulsion in 1926 was permanent because he said that no one on the school's board was qualified to score him. Salvador's behavior was unusual for a famous artist of his stature. He walked around with his mustache and walking stick. His work on the persistence of memory, which was released in 1931, remains one of the most iconic art objects the world has ever seen to date. Number 7, Richard Feynman. Born in 1918, Richard Feynman is regarded as one of the greatest American scientists of all time. At a very tender age, young Richard's personal notebook contains records of him working on various mathematical models far greater than his age grade. He was a genius and one of a kind. From his participation in the Manhattan Project to becoming a Nobel Prize winner for his contribution to the understanding of quantum physics, Richard Feynman, who was also a professor, was a student favorite among professors at Caltech. And during the period when no one could provide concrete answers about the disaster of the Columbia space shuttle, Richard provided the answers. He was that fantastic. Number 6, Gregory Rasputin. Born in Siberia, Rasputin was destined to become a monk before becoming a key player in the Orthodox Church. After the 1907 revolution and his assistance in stabilizing the health of Nicholas II's heir, he became a close pal to the emperor. Rasputin was many things. He told the public he was a holy man, and to the French ambassador to Russia, he referred to himself as Christ Miniature. Despite his claims of being a holy man, Rasputin was famous for seducing many women among the Russian Empire's nobilities, leading many people within the empire to name him the Mad Monk. He also told the Tsar that if he died on the 1st of January, and if by chance any emperor's family had a hand in his death, none of the emperor's children would live for 2 years after his death. Did the prediction happen? Yes. All of the Emperor Nicholas II's children died within 2 years of Rasputin's death. Number 5. David Blaine. David Blaine has been a performing magician for more than 20 years. Some of the experiences he's helped created in the past are rare and sometimes include activities you wouldn't bet that any human could survive. In one of his performances, he froze himself in a block of ice for almost 3 days, and he came out unscathed. That's really unbelievable. Even crazier, he buried himself alive for a week. When he first started out, his mother was the first patron before he expanded his fan base to his friends and his neighborhood. So this street performer decided that the best way to understand what his mom passed through during her last days was to bury himself for a while. We don't know if that worked. Number 4. Daniel Kish. Daniel Kish was born in 1966, and right after his birth, doctors found out that he was born with a rare condition known as retinoblastoma. This is a cancer of the retina in the eye. He lost one eye to the disease initially, and by the time he was 13 months old, Daniel had lost the other. A check on both parents showed that neither his mother or his father had the condition, but Daniel's younger brother Keith, when he was born, he also had the condition. Daniel's eye problem was hereditary, but his brother was lucky that his eyes were saved. Still, that didn't stop Daniel from pursuing his dreams, even in an unusual manner. By the time he was 2 years old, he could use noise to get feedback and later mastered the art of echolocation. Eventually, this amazing man went on to have 2 master's degrees and a PhD. Number 3. Jadav Payeng. In 2010, the Indian government conferred upon Jadav the title of the Forest Man of India to commemorate World Earth Day. The title was given to Jadav, who was in his 60s at the time, for his role in transforming 550 hectares of land into a lush green forest single-handedly within the space of 30 years. Speaking about his experience, Jadav said that his love for planting started when he was a young boy. In his acceptance speech, Jadav gave credit to animals like cows, deer, and birds for their assistance in building the forest, now known in the local dialect as Molai. The forest Jadav started more than 30 years ago now attracts 80% of the world's migratory birds and provides clean air for the locals, an unusual hero. And number 2, Mauro Prosperi. Before the race through the Sahara Desert in 1994, Mauro was already an Olympian. However, for athletes with a keen interest in breaking records, participating in the Marathon des Sables is a gift of a lifetime. The foot race is 250 kilometers, and it started well for Mauro and other participants until nature changed its rules. The sand dunes worked in overtime, and Mauro got separated from everyone in the race. He eventually spent 9.5 days in the desert, drinking his own urine to stay hydrated and feeding on bats for food. Finally, he was saved by a Berber family and eventually picked up by the Algerian army. But here's where it gets really unusual. Mauro went back to the desert between 1999 and 2017 to complete the Marathon des Sables 9 more times, despite his horrible first experience. And now, number 1, Tim Cridland. Have you ever heard of anyone that mastered pain so much that they don't feel it? Well, that's Tim Cridland. Tim Cridland was declared the king of pain by Phase magazine due to his ability to remain unfazed by any form of pain whatsoever. Tim made his debut at the Jim Rose Circus Sideshow and has been a trailblazer ever since. His interest in performances was influenced by books that talk about sword swallowers and snake charmers. Tim holds the Guinness World Record for having 106 pins in his body at once. No one comes close. Tim is the king of hypnosis, and that is why he's able to endure any level of pain. He learned to be in tune with his own body. The chemistry he shares with his body is unimaginable. And that is why he remains the Torture King. And that wraps up today's video. Do you think there's another extremely unusual man that could have made this list? Leave your thoughts down in the comments below. Make sure to subscribe and give us a like. Don't forget to turn on your post notifications so you never miss a video from Star 5. Thanks for watching.